Amigos, muy buena tarde. Estamos aquí nuevamente en su canal de viajes. Ahora tengo a una invitada en el norte del continente. Vamos a platicar en inglés, así que les pido por favor que prendan su traductor aquí en Google para que puedan ver los subtítulos en español y pues puedan entender toda la charla para, pues para poderla llevar a cabo correctamente, ya que Leina no habla mucho español, habla un poquito, ¿correcto, Leina?
Exactamente, un poquito.
She used to live in Mexico, and well, she was married to a Mexican guy, but he only taught her the bad words, right?
It's so true. It's so true. Hello, everyone. Hola de Canada.
Exactly.
So nice
She's
to
a,
have me. I'm so happy to be here.
yeah, no, thank you. Thank you for accepting my invitation, Leina. It's great to see you again. As I was telling you, it's been several years since
It has.
we met in person for the last time. I don't even remember when was that.
It was in Ciudad de Mexico many, many years ago.
Yes, yes, but we have been in touch for
Of course.
all these years by WhatsApp, Facebook, and
Yes.
whatever. That's something I had told
And
you.
we haven't aged, either of us.
No, no, you less than me because
Thank
you are forever young. I don't know what kind of water you drink, but that keep you really young, Lena.
I'd like to say it's wine,
Show
but
us
it's
the
actually
secret
it's soda water. It's not even wine. It's just soda, club soda water.
that is what is keeping you so young.
Thank you. I appreciate
No,
that.
yeah. You look the same. It's been several years, as you say, but you're still the same. It's the same curly girl I met.
Girly girl. Absolutely. Hey, rojo.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
And where exactly in Canada are you living, Lena?
So I live in God's country, as we call it. I live in Calgary, Alberta. I have the Rocky Mountains probably about an hour and a half from my home. I just head west
Hmm.
and you start driving and you see the most amazing, beautiful sights. It's phenomenal. And we're so blessed to have it right here in our backyard.
Yes, that's someone. I already have been in Canada, but on the East Coast,
On the East
and
Coast.
I really need to go to Vancouver and all that area where you are because it's, I just say, scenery. It's really great, and for me, making pictures, it's wonderful. It would be
Oh,
wonderful.
the pictures that you would get in the Rocky Mountains and as you pass Calgary and go into Vancouver, that area, you would think that you're almost in the Caribbean in the sense that the lakes, the thousands of lakes that are up in the
Hmm.
mountain, are the same color as the Caribbean. It shocked me when I would see them because I never lived in Calgary.
Okay, cool. But
Yeah.
I bet, as in all of the north of the continent, it's probably better watching the fall colors instead of
Oh,
summer. Or what do you think about getting the best postcards from Canada? Which would be the best season to do that?
oh,
Would it be autumn?
well, autumn is absolutely stunning. And again, it depends. Canada is the second largest country in the world, so it depends what area you're in.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about Calgary is you can see the most magical colors of autumn, and
Mm-hmm.
then the next day, boom, snow hits, and we get hit with an ice storm. And then 3 days later, it's plus 20 again. So it kind of kills the colors. So you just never know what you're going to get. You have to get kind of lucky here. But truly, it's the colors are gorgeous. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, that's what I want to capture with my camera someday. I'll be there someday after all this finish. I'll be visiting you.
Yeah. Please, please.
And you need to come back to Mexico to
Oh,
have this warm weather here.
I miss Mexico so much. I really do. Mexico is my all-time favorite. I've been in 13 states in Mexico,
Okay.
and everywhere I went, people were wonderful. The food is outstanding, the service, and it drives me a little bit crazy because a lot of Canadians, they want to go to Mexico, but what are they
Hmm.
doing? They put the Vallarta, Cancun. They're going to the resort and they're not going into San Miguel Allende, or they're not going to Ajijic or
Exactly.
anything cool.
When they stay at the resort, it's like staying in a resort everywhere in the world, Fiji or
Exactly.
Hawaii or whatever, because you don't even
Yeah.
get into the culture, into the real culture.
Yeah, and that's what I feel so blessed about, that I was able to go to so many states in Mexico and meet so many people, so many regions, and everywhere you go, it's different. But yet, everywhere I went, the people were all the same in the sense they were wonderful to me.
But everyone, when tells me what you're just telling me, is that for me, it's like every single state is, if we were in Europe and you move from one country to another, because you have different customs, even it's same language, we have
Right.
different words that you
Yes.
can use from one area to the other. And of course, the cooking, it's totally different, the flavors
Yeah.
and the handcrafts, everything, culture, everything is
Everything.
different from state from state. So you still have 19 states to go.
I can hardly wait.
Okay, well, we have 32.
That's the other part of it, Jose, is so many people, I went to Mexico and I had guacamole and I had tacos and I had this. Seriously, if you go from this region or that region, and I forget the word, champuli, grasshoppers.
Chapulines.
That was
No,
crazy. I believe that was that was
Oaxaca.
getting more into Oaxaca,
In Oaxaca,
where they were
yes.
having the little grasshopper sticking out
Yes.
of the. No, I didn't do that one.
You didn't try them? Or you,
I was too scared of that one.
come on, Lena. And did you try the gusano de maguey? Or not?
What is
Gusano
that? I
de
don't know what that.
worm?
No,
No?
no, no,
You didn't try
no.
any insect at all?
Not the insects. And again, when I went to Thailand and they had these enormous bugs,
Uh-huh.
no, I'm
No.
gonna pass on that protein.
Okay.
Not a chance.
Okay, I understand. And in fact, that's something I want to let the people who is watching us, or who is going to be watching us, that Lena, I don't know if you're still writing that travel blog you had when we met. You still
I'm
have
not.
that?
No, it's still up there. It's still around. It was a hick town girl in Asia, because I'm from a very small town in middle of Canada called Saskatchewan. That's the province name.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a lot of followers and it was being printed. But honestly, Jose, when I got back into the real world of not
Mm-hmm.
traveling all the time, I had to work, and I work jobs and I write every single day in my job. And I miss it. People say all the time, "Oh, you're so funny and you write such great stuff." But one day I will get back to it. But I don't think I'm a Hicktown girl anymore. I've grown up a whole bunch. So I
Exactly.
probably have to change the name.
That
Yeah,
has changed a little bit.
yeah. I'll be curly girly traveling, I guess.
Okay, that sounds good. Sounds good for your new travel blog.
Yeah.
And Lena, let us know, which would you say that at this point is your favorite either city or country in the world that you have already visited?
It's a hard question to answer, but I do have an answer. I was so blessed to have a few friends that I met here in Calgary,
Mm-hmm.
and they're from Nairobi in Kenya. And they were going to Kenya, and they went for, I guess I went for close to a month.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, "Let's go, come on." And I went to Nairobi and all in the region, and I went on safari to many places. Absolutely loved it. I was quite nervous to go. You know, you hear all these things, "Oh, you go to Kenya and this is going to happen." But
Mm-hmm.
honestly, the resorts, like resorts isn't quite the right word. I was told I had to camp, which scared me to death. I don't camp. I like hotels. But when
Yes.
I saw these luxury tents, unbelievable. The service was phenomenal. The people were wonderful. And for you being a photographer,
Mm-hmm.
every place you go, there's just 1,000 photographs to take. The animals that I saw, I feel so lucky to have been able to do that. So I really want to get back to Africa and do a little bit more traveling.
And sunrise and sunset should be great,
Oh,
right?
so wonderful. We went to a place called Amboseli, and we went to it was only 5 different tents, but they weren't tents or permanent
You know,
structures.
they call them now glamping because it's
Oh,
like
oh,
glamorous camping.
this is way past glamping
Oh,
even.
really?
But we actually had the Maasai warriors
Uh-huh.
waiting on us, and they had traditional, where they have all the earrings, and
Uh-huh. Yes.
and
Yeah, yeah.
we're traditional Maasai, and we were sitting around this enormous bonfire,
Mm-hmm.
and this Maasai warrior came to me with a silver platter and a beautiful goblet of wine. It was
Mm-hmm.
wine, not club soda,
Mm-hmm.
and he carried it to me, and we're sitting there in the middle of Amboseli. Right behind me was Kilimanjaro in Tanzania because they share the border. And so I could see Kilimanjaro right behind me, and we could hear the lions roaring.
Wow. Wow.
And the Maasai warriors are there to protect you. And at this particular resort, every time you leave your tent, you have to ring a cowbell, and they come and escort you in case there's a lion or an elephant or something.
Okay.
It was surreal, but absolutely the most phenomenal experience I can ever have. And I hope someday I can top it. I don't know if I'll be able to.
Wow.
But to hear the lions right
yeah.
they said they were a kilometer away, but I don't know where they were.
Yes, we don't care, but we just need to be safe, right? It doesn't matter where
But
you are.
you as a photographer, if you went to Kenya, between the Maasai, the people, they're so colorful, all the animals. I got to visit a Maasai a village, and I went into the huts, and they're made of cow poop. Cow dung, and they're very short. I'm kind of a tall lady, and so, but the people were so gracious to me. They had, some of the people have nothing, and yet they invite you into their homes. It was absolutely wonderful.
Wow, sounds really great. In fact, that Africa and Oceania, it's the two continents I have not visited yet, so I still more travel to do. Have you been in all the continents already?
I'm missing. Is it? I'm sorry, I'm going to sound like a total ditz. Antarctic, wherever
Antarctic.
it's cold, I'm not going.
Okay. Okay.
When I'm Canadian, I'm not going.
Yeah, you don't need more of that.
No, I don't. But I've heard there's some absolutely wonderful things, and if I did go, I'm sure it would be wonderful. But I just, I'm going to just stay in Calgary where it's cold enough for me. I'm used to Mexico and Singapore and where it's hot. I still, after 5 years here, I still am too cold.
Yes, no, I bet. I bet so. Have you ever seen a boreal? How do you call it?
Aurora Borealis.
Aurora Boreal. Have you seen them?
Place. It's been going on right now. Jose, people are out. They just will leave Calgary. They'll go outside where there's no light pollution, and the colors are out of this world. You think that you're watching something that you might see in a disco or in a club. It's so phenomenal. But the more north you go in Canada, the more people see this. And I've seen photos that people have just used their iPhone to take, and they're so brilliant. Yes, I haven't seen it a lot, but when you do see it, you are seeing something.
Yeah, that's something I really want to see before I die, because it's something that I have seen only in video and pictures, but I guess it would be amazing to see it through my eyes.
It's just dancing lights. You know what would be a wonderful trip for you, because you're such a brilliant photographer, is to go in the 2 provinces over. It's called Manitoba, and it's called Churchill, Manitoba. You have to fly in, and they have these enormous buses with tires that are, taller than a man, and they take you to see the polar bears, the ice flow, and then you see a lot of the Aurora Borealis. And I've not done it, but again, it's cold because I'm not doing it.
I know,
but it's quite expensive. But people that have done it say it's life-changing to see polar bears. And
yeah, I have heard of some people that have tried to watch the Aurora Boreals, but they have not had enough luck to watch them. Sometimes they go and they don't. They come back as they went before, because they were not lucky.
Yeah, I know Friday for sure people were taking them just right outside of Calgary. But again, the more north you go, because we're a little bit more south, the more you're going to see. And people see them all the time. They stand out on their deck. Oh yeah, I saw them last night.
Yeah. It's like I just watched the sunset from my window.
For them, they see it all the time. So it's another day.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
And Lena, which country or city would you like to visit after this ends that you probably have been thinking about since several years and you have not had the opportunity to visit yet?
Absolutely know that. I want to start researching. I have done a little bit of research on Portugal. I've heard wonderful things about Portugal. Have you been?
No. Portugal is also one country I really want to visit. I have heard that it's also less expensive than the rest of Europe. So
yes,
could be nice to be there.
Correct. They say it's a fairly safe country to go, and often I travel on my own, so they say it's quite safe to go. They say the transportation's great. I don't speak Portuguese, but because you're Spanish, you would get by far easier. It wouldn't be perfect, but you would.
Exactly. They can understand you.
Far less. Yeah, and they say most people speak English there, which I know is really, I can't stand when people say, oh, we can speak English there. Well, I should be learning to speak Portuguese and not roll in there. But I'm quite interested to see it. They have beautiful coasts, they've great cities. And that's kind of my hit list, I think.
Okay, cool. That sounds
honestly,
great.
I would go anywhere at this point.
Exactly.
I would get on a plane and go anywhere.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where.
I can see the airport.
Okay. Well,
I just want to go.
You can see where. Well, I have heard that in Australia, they were doing some flights. People cannot go out from their city, but they are doing some surrounding flights, and they don't go anywhere. They just are up in the air, and they get back for they depart. Just to fly into an airplane. Yeah, just to fly.
I will pass on that. I would rather go up in a helicopter. Just no thanks.
Yes, exactly.
That stress of just going to the airport and dealing with masks, no way, not a chance. The only place I've flown, honestly, since COVID hit, I went to a beautiful province in Canada, British Columbia, and I went to a place called Kelowna. They call it Napa Valley of the North. It's wine country. Wonderful, phenomenal wine in Kelowna. There's over 300 or 400 wineries in that region. So I thought, if I'm going to get lost somewhere, I'm going to get lost in some wine region. And so I flew in there. It was easy. I have to say it was easy flight, but that was back in July. Things again have changed.
Exactly.
Not so easy to fly anymore.
Wow. Which was the last trip that you did before all of this, out of Canada?
I believe Hawaii. I went to Maui.
Okay, cool.
I went to Maui. Yeah, it was great. It's beautiful. Yeah, but it's, I don't want to diss Maui because it's stunning. It absolutely is beautiful. And I saw some really great things. But for me, I like a little bit more of a lively scene. I like to listen to live music. I like to get up dancing. And Maui often shuts down early. And the reason they told me that is because a lot of people go there to do water sports and things very early. They want to get up way before sunset and they want to watch the sunrise.
Right.
So clubs and things, there really isn't a big club life there. And they do live music, but it stops at 9 o'clock at night.
And you're mostly a night girl, right?
I'm a night girl. I love my salsa, my bachata, my cha-cha.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I've taken up some salsa, different kinds of Latin dancing. And so I want to go out and do that. And I do love live music. So that's kind of my thing. But it was a lot of fun. Have you been to Maui?
Yes, I've been once, but it was, when was it? Almost 20 years ago, I guess. But it was wonderful. You know, I went to Honolulu is where I stayed the most. And then I flew to Maui and I flew to other island. I don't remember the name. And well, Hawaii is one of the most beautiful places where I have seen sunsets, the most beautiful sunsets.
Crazy.
They're great. They're crazy.
Crazy. I went, I did some kayaking and then when we were kayaking, the man said, oh, I brought some snorkel stuff. Do you want to snorkel? Sure. And I snorkeled down. I'm a terrible snorkeler. But anyway, I still did it. Enormous turtles. And while I was underneath, I heard this sound and I came up and I asked the man that took me, I said, is that children screaming or what is that? He said, that's whales. They're singing. You can hear the whales.
Okay.
So I went down and it was that sound that I only heard it on television. So again, you know, everywhere I go, I like to find something really phenomenal. And that's one thing I'll never forget is.
Exactly. Was this your first time in Hawaii?
No, I've been to Hawaii about 3 or 4 times, but I went to the party island. I went to Honolulu.
Yes, exactly.
Waikiki, which is just tourist tour. I mean, it's crazy. It's totally tourist everywhere in Hawaii.
Honestly. That's right.
Yeah. But it is beautiful. I mean, I'm certainly not dissing it by any means. It has so much to see. Yes,
definitely. And nature, it's really great there. The weather, everything.
Yeah, seeing the sea turtles and you know, such beautiful marine wildlife. So that was pretty nice.
Exactly. Lena, how do you feel that this whole pandemic is changing all the humanity or the way we used to travel, the way we used to socialize? How do you see this may affect or may improve things? Or I don't know. How do you see about this?
Improving, I'm not sure. I see
No.
tons of improvement, honestly. I mean, yes, of course, people are keeping things more cleanly and people are not getting the flu. There's been no flu in Canada. I'm not sure about Mexico. I mean, there's been COVID, but there's no flu. And now we're going to see probably out of Canada, perhaps, just like when you go to certain countries in Africa, you have to show that you've had yellow fever, different inoculations, vaccinations. So they're talking about having this in your passport. So those types of things are definitely changing. I don't see a lot of improvements, honestly. This is, for a person who's so extroverted, which I am, my whole world, whether it's through work or life, I'm always out. It's been very, very difficult to stay home. Now I'm almost to the point I don't want to go out because we're nervous to go out. I'm not nervous to get COVID. I'm just nervous to, I don't know, just because I've been at home for so long, playing my piano and doing whatever I can to occupy myself. So it's been tough, and it's tough not seeing your family members. I have family members in British Columbia. I have family members the opposite way in Saskatchewan. I really can't see them. And so it's really, really tough. But I have gone to work every single day. I have not missed a day of work, except over Christmas, we shut down, and we're considered essential workers. And I'm very thankful I've got to go to work. People, oh, too bad you can't work at home. No, I'm good. I like to get dressed up. I want to go. I miss that network. Missing people. We're transportation, so we have to be out there, but it's been devastating, and it's been so sad, and often we have tears in our eyes because I've watched so many people that I work with lose their livelihood because there's just nothing to do without football games and concerts and festivals and people even being allowed to go out. My boss owns a large taxi company, and so of course taxis, they're struggling, and we're out there taking people to their COVID appointments, taking them to get vaccinations. We're delivering blood. We're doing all sorts of things. We're delivering food, prescriptions. So we're doing anything that we can to keep our drivers working, as well as keeping things going like the blood and getting lab results and things too.
So do people really still at home at this point?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, thousands. When I drive in the morning, compared to what it normally is wall-to-wall traffic, I zip to work in about 20 minutes. So yeah, people are still, lots and lots of people are at home.
Oh, that's great, because here in Mexico, now you go out in the street and you are just watching the same traffic jams as always. But a lot of people is doing home office, and students are not attending to school. So I'm not sure what people is doing out there. So it's full of cars out there, and people, yes, they are wearing their mask. They're protecting themselves, but they are outside. So
we keep getting messages that Mexico is open for business, and you know how Canadians love Mexico. I mean, it's our home away from home. That in Palm Springs, really, and so it's really tough. And of course, it's tough on Mexico's tourism. We know that without a doubt. We want to be there. Believe me, we want to be.
I know. Yeah.
But the problem is when we come back into Canada.
Exactly.
We are getting nailed. We have to go to a COVID hotel. We have to show the test from Mexico, and then we have to do another test in Canada. We're charged a huge amount of money, probably more than we paid to go to Mexico.
Yes, that's right.
And so whatever it is, it's double, triple, quadruple what you're paying, and it's really frustrating, and people are sick of it. So.
And how long do you have to stay at that hotel, that COVID hotel?
I was just told that from somebody who was just in Palm Springs, they came in, and even though they only had to stay at the hotel less than 24 hours, they were still charged for 3 days.
Okay.
And so it's a 3-day, and it's around $2,000 per person. Because you're paying security guards, tests, family, food, and it's not good food. So Canadians are up in arms. We want to travel. We want to go. Yeah.
Yes.
We would be there if we could be.
Yeah, in fact, this situation, when it won't end at all, but when it's more open, I guess a lot of tourists are going to head into Mexico because it's one of the countries which is still open. I just went last week, as I told you, to Cancun. There was a wedding with only 30 people attending. But I went one day into Playa del Carmen, And streets, the Fifth Avenue in Playa del Carmen, it was really packed. It was amazing. Yeah, it was like there's no COVID here. It's like non-COVID paradise. Or what is this? Because all people was there like COVID doesn't exist in the world.
Well, and that's what's happening down in Texas, Florida. Different states are opening up, and they're saying we're done. We got to open, and that's the way I feel because of the tourism. Calgary has a lot of tourism, a lot of festivals. The Calgary Stampede is one of the largest outdoor, they call it the largest outdoor festival type thing. And it brings in millions and millions of dollars into Calgary. And it got shut last year. They say it's going forward this year. I don't know in what capacity. We get people from around the world that attend. We have bull riders, chuck wagon races, these types of kind of rodeo activities.
When does this happens usually?
It's a 10-day festival. It starts about July 3rd, depending on July 2nd, 3rd.
It's summer. In summer.
It's a huge thing. We get big name artists that come to perform, and so millions and millions of dollars comes into the economy, and it was nothing. Just like everywhere. I mean, it's everywhere. It's not just Calgary by any means, but you can only sustain it for so long. People have to work. People, they're losing their health. People mental health is absolutely awful. It's off the charts what's happening to people.
That's right. That's right. That's why people start here in Mexico doing their regular life. They're trying to protect themselves, but I'm not sure about the real protection they're having. Fortunately, we already started with the vaccination, but well, it's going to take several months from now. But hopefully one day, probably before this year ends, we will get all our shots. I don't know how vaccination is moving in Canada.
I only know in Alberta they've done around 400,000, and we've got around, I think in the province there's 4 or 5 million people. Calgary has about 1.3 million, so they're trying to get them going. But again, there's the 3 different kinds, so it depends whether you get the 1 shot, the 2 shots.
Yes, exactly. And full Canada country, it's around 24 million or 25?
Canada's around 34 million.
34, okay.
So we're about the size of what, Mexico City, population-wise?
A little bit more, but well, Mexico City, it's around 25 million, so well.
So in all of Canada,
Yes, exactly. All Canada in a very small territory here.
And they say that 90% of Canadian population live 100 miles to the American border. That's how we're so close, and they've got all this up above that no one's really hanging out in.
Exactly. Wow, that's something that we didn't plan 1 year before this.
That's a massive job in Mexico. I can't imagine how that is rolling out.
It's been really bad for economy mainly, and that's why probably government is allowing people to do stuff that probably we shouldn't, but well, as you just said, economy needs to move. People start getting crazy inside their house, and it's something that we will need to learn how to live with. It's something that arrives to stay here for we don't know how many years, and
don't know.
We will need to start struggling with this, and well, life should move on.
And I try not to follow it too closely. And I mean, I shouldn't say that because my job is a media manager, so I'm constantly reading, looking, but I try to not watch it all the time because all it does is make you more upset. And I'm trying to live my life as normally as I can, minus the travel. But I'm still, now that we're able to go out a little bit more, I'm trying to get out there. And now that the weather has turned nice, but even to get away from Calgary and drive to the mountains for an hour and a half, it is absolutely packed out there. Sometimes the highways look like wall to wall, like driving in Mexico, it's wall to wall traffic because people want to escape. They want to do things. They want to go out and enjoy nature.
Exactly.
And that's all we really have at this moment. We can't go into this province. We can't go into the US. So they're heading to the mountains.
So all the boundaries are closed.
They are, the borders. Well, Yes, unless it's essential travel, they shut the borders down. And there were people sneaking in last year. I mean, of course, people always find loopholes because to get to Alaska, you have to go through Canada.
Ah, that's right. Yes.
That's right. So people are, oh yeah, they would go into Banff because I mean Banff is just extraordinary. And yeah, we're going up to Alaska, and they got busted.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
that's right. That's right.
But honestly, as a person who's been to Banff quite a few times, I can't blame them because people wanted to get out and they want to do things, and I get it. I'm not here to judge anybody because I probably would do it if I could get away with it.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes.
You know, if I could just sneak to Mexico. I honestly do have a wonderful friend here in Calgary, and she just had enough. She couldn't take it anymore, and she has been traveling all around, pretty close to where you were in that area, and she just wanted to kind of reset herself, but she's going to places that aren't very populated, and I follow her along as she's going. And she said that Mexico has been wonderful about keeping things clean. And again, she's not going into the big resorts in Cancun or anywhere where there's thousands of people. She's going into more local towns and the pueblas, but she said the people are wonderful. Everything's clean, neat. She feels so safe down there, which is great to hear.
Was this her first time in Mexico?
Oh no, she's traveled far more than I have even. She just is a phenomenal traveler, but she just thought that she can work from anywhere. She doesn't need to be sitting here listening to this day in and day out. So she's enjoying her life, having some great cocktails, having some beautiful food.
Wonderful.
You know, spending her Canadian dollars down in Mexico.
Exactly. What else do you want for life?
Yeah, I said to her, I know you're younger than I am, but could you adopt me, please?
That's right. Lena, when about talking, when you started to travel, that you remember, where was your first international trip? That you remember?
I was about 17 or 18 years old, and I went to Mazatlan. That's where Canadians went. That was a huge deal because I'm from small town Saskatchewan.
Yeah. So was that your first international
first time? And honestly, I remember getting off that bus from the airport, and that was kind of before it was really super resorty. I mean, I just went to a hotel, this Fleabag motel. And I went. She was a year older than I was. We went. You know, my parents was like, "Yeah, go ahead." You know, I was the youngest kid. They didn't care. Go ahead. Got on this plane, took a charter down to Mexico, got off in Mazatlan, the bus, and I looked around and I saw all these men. And I went, oh my God, the men in Mexico are beautiful. And we had so much fun. We were there for 2 weeks. We had more fun than I can even talk about.
Was that on a spring break?
No, not even. But we went to Senor Frogs. We went to Mazatlan. There's a disco up on the Valentinos. And there was a fireman's pole, and we jumped. Oh my God. These are two small town kids in Mexico, and we had so much fun. And oh my God. And so I found a love of Mexico. But that was my first international. But other than oh gosh, I've been to so many places, Jose.
Yeah, I know. That's why we are here chatting.
Venezuela. I went to Venezuela. I wasn't very old there. Fried myself. I'm so white. I was just a mass of blisters in Venezuela.
When did you go to Venezuela? Before all this bad things happening?
Yeah, well, there was a lot of bad things because you're walking on the beach and lots of machine guns and stuff, but not as bad as it is now. No.
Was this in the 90s, or you went in
yeah, it would have been in the 90s. Yeah, it was pretty bad, but again, just went
not like this.
Yeah. No, not like this. No, not at all. Where else did I go when I was really, really young? Lots of Caribbean. Oh, I went to Jamaica a lot. That was so much fun. Jamaica's just a blast. I love the Caribbean.
Yeah, it's great, and they have all these great islands that belongs to different countries, and they have islands from Netherlands and islands from the English guys and all that stuff.
But you know, the one thing I really can say is when I moved to Southeast Asia, and I was going to some of these beaches that people claim are absolutely stunning, and they were great, but I still said, this is nothing. You should see the Bahamas. This is nothing. You should see Barbados. This is nothing. You should see Australia. The beaches in Australia are stunning. But I still remember going to some of the islands and thinking, yeah, this is good, but you got to go to the Bahamas. You got to see that sand. You got to see some of the sand on the Caribbean side of Mexico.
When you go to Venezuela, did you visit Aruba, which is almost in front of Venezuela?
No.
Aruba is also a
I
great island.
just went straight to Venezuela and just got so sunburned.
Oh,
I could never forget that, how horrible. That's a place that lots of people from the eastern part of Canada go to because it's an easy flight down. So lots of French people from Quebec.
Yeah.
And me, that was it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm thinking of all the crazy places I've been. Yeah, so many. I can't hardly remember them. That's why I really think Facebook has changed so much in so many years, but I still like the memories that pop up because I go, oh yeah, I went there.
From time to time, yes, exactly.
And even I can't even remember all the places that I've been to. I recently met a person here in Calgary, and he's from Merida, and he was so surprised that I knew Merida. I said, yeah, and I know Progreso. And he, how do you know this? Because I've been there. And then I started talking about all the places I've been to in Mexico because I haven't been there. I haven't been.
Okay. So
yeah.
You've been in more places than he did.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. So now I said, I got something on you because I've been here.
And Elena, is French mandatory in Canada? Do you need to learn both languages, French and English, or just on the French side?
Also,
in Quebec,
a lot of signs, labels on cans. You know, when you buy something, it has to be French and English. In Quebec, yes, everybody, but in Montreal, a lot of people will speak English. Lots of provinces offer French immersion, or they offer straight French schools for kids. My son, he did bilingual, so he does do both. I certainly don't. I'm terrible at speaking French. My Spanish is better. But in the national parks, you will see the signs in French and in English in the national parks, but not in the provincial parks. You won't.
Okay, I don't know why I have the wrong idea that everyone in Canada should learn English and French, both
not even
mandatory languages. Okay, so it's
people more the East Coast will do it more than in the West Coast.
Yes, yes.
But it's still great to learn because, of course, knowing one language, two languages, the more languages you know, the more you know.
You know, sometime, well, once I read, I don't know, it was a magazine or somewhere, that every single language that you learn, that you speak, it's like living an extra life. So if you speak French, then you live an extra life in French. If you speak Spanish, you live an extra life in Spanish, all at the same time, of course. But it's something I read, and I believe they have something right in that, writing that probably, yes, that opens you more world of what you have with just one language.
I agree. I love that. I took Spanish all around the world. One of the funniest places I took Spanish was in Singapore, of all places, which I thought was kind of hilarious.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that you had a Spanish classes there.
My teacher was from Spain, and I'm more used to, of course, the Mexico accent, the Latin American accent. Yes. And she and I used to fight about it because I wasn't saying cerveza. I wanted to say cerveza.
That's
we
right.
fought. She would yell at me. I'm like, no, not doing it. But I took Spanish in Regina, Victoria, on Vancouver Island where I lived. I took it in Texas. I took it in Singapore. And now in Calgary, because of the Latin dancing I do, I mean, I try to speak it, but when you're not doing it all the time, and I never was fully fluent by any means. I can read it better than I can.
Are there many, or well, no now, but were there many Spanish speakers, tourists around Calgary that you can take care of, or they're not really?
Oh, tons. There's so many Latin people living here. So many. Every country you can think of is here in Calgary.
Okay.
Because a lot of people came to Calgary, oil and gas, and they could make great living. They would work a little bit. They'd work up in the north. They would make wonderful money. Tons and tons and tons of people. It was quite surprising to me how many people are from, whether it's Mexico, Chile, El Salvador, you name it. They're here.
I don't know how they enjoy the cold weather.
They embrace it, and they go skiing, and they go snowboarding, and they go tobogganing, and they go cross-country skiing, and they snowshoe, and they love it. I mean, what are you going to do? You could be in perhaps in one of their countries and not make that much money, but when you go to northern Alberta and you're working in the oil and gas and you're making money, 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 and they're sending it home to their families, oh, they're happy. They'll embrace the cold very quickly.
Yes, you know, when I used to live in Massachusetts, I also really enjoyed the cold weather and the snow. But I remember people who was born there, they were just like, no, no, I know there's snowy winter. I don't want that. I don't like that at all, because their whole life they have been living with that. But for us, visiting for a few years, it was just like great, because here in
Yeah.
Mexico City you never have snow, so it was something really special for us.
But I was told, or I read, I guess it would be the big storm that hit Texas. It was just brutal in Texas. I heard it went all the way down into Mexico.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
they got
that happened
stopped.
about a month ago or so. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was really hard for
crazy.
them. And well, and they were happy because they usually don't get that kind of that amount of snow. So they were happy playing around with the snow and building snow dolls and whatever. No.
Well, that's the one thing about Calgary that's a little bit different. Oh, and as well, I was just going to mention, you lived in Massachusetts, so it was probably very humid. When you get cold and humidity, it is really cold. Whereas Calgary is very, very dry. Not saying it's better because it's still cold. But the one thing about Calgary that we get, and Leonardo DiCaprio made quite a fuss about this because he did a big movie here just outside of Calgary in the mountains. We get something that's called Chinooks, and it blows in from the mountains, and you'll see something in the sky. I never saw it before till I moved to this city, and you see this amazing, strange cloud. And there's a Chinook coming in. Some people are affected by it and they get very bad migraines. It doesn't bother me. But anyway, this Chinook comes in, and one day it can be minus 15, and the next day it's plus 15. And the sun is very, very bright here. And people are in their shorts and they're running around, and the patios open, and they put the heaters and people drink beer because there's a huge swing of weather in here, and it comes because of the mountains.
Okay. And
Leonardo DiCaprio, I call him. His name is Leonardo DiCaprio. I can't even say his name because I say his name wrong all the time on purpose. But he tried to say, "Oh, global warming! My goodness, how can it be this cold?" And the next day, no, this has been like this since time. They're called Chinooks.
Okay. What's the lowest temperature you have felt in your life?
Oh,
minus 50 or? Okay.
Yes. Minus 50. When my former partner moved to Regina, he was living in Toronto and he moved to Regina. We hosted a party one night at his condo, and we had all these friends come over. He had never, being from Mexico City, never in his life, he couldn't even fathom what this meant. And so all these people came to the party, and of course he's bought all these mitts and toques toques is what we call them. And he's got the big parka, the chaqueta.
Chaqueta. Chamarra. It's
big parkas. And anyway, everybody's car froze and they wouldn't start. In Canada, we plug our cars in sometimes, not all of us, sometimes. It was so cold, and he's out there trying to help people get their cars. You take a breath of air and it just, your lungs, you can't imagine it. It's crazy. That's why I don't live in that province anymore. I'm moving west, and the more west you move, the warmer it gets.
Yeah, the worst I got, it was minus 30. And I guess after minus 20, you don't feel anything. I don't know. You don't feel your nose, you don't feel your fingers, you don't feel anything. It's like.
No, and it's dangerous because you literally will freeze your fingers.
That's right.
Within a minute. So it's very dangerous.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget that party we had. And that poor man, he thought, what am I doing here? I must love this woman a lot.
That's right.
It is cold in Canada.
Yeah. For how long did you live around Asia, Lena?
I was in Asia a year and a bit. I can't remember exactly. I'm terrible with dates and things. About a year or so.
Did you have time to visit other countries around there and around Singapore? You were based in Singapore, right?
Singapore. That was the beauty of Singapore. It's an incredibly expensive country. It's one of the most expensive countries in the world, and it's about 6 million people in a island that's only 25, about in kilometers, probably about 35, 40 kilometers long. So
yeah, it's really small.
pretty dense. But the one thing about Singapore is as expensive as it is, you can get other places. So you can even take a bus over to Malaysia. I didn't drive. It's so expensive to drive in Singapore. Just your most basic car is about $50,000 more than what you would pay elsewhere because they have a tax for not driving. They don't want people to drive. So if we took the bus, say into Malaysia, we just crossed the border, or you would take a ferry over to Indonesia, you would fly to Thailand, you'd fly to Hong Kong, Japan, Korea, you name it, we were there. Yeah, it was wonderful. So I feel absolutely blessed that I was able to visit so many Asian countries and people, oh, Asia, oh my goodness, something bad's gonna happen. So safe.
Yes. I went, well, I've been in Singapore twice, but I traveled more the first time. I moved to Malaysia, Thailand, and Japan. And that was it. And still much more countries I would love to visit, like Vietnam, Cambodia, all that, all those countries, which I know they are much less expensive than Singapore and Japan, of course.
Oh, Japan absolutely is so expensive. I remember seeing, I had a lot of Japanese friends and we went into a grocery store. And it was a box of grapes. It was only that big. It was $50 Canadian. And I had to take a photo. I mean, they were nice grapes. They were big, but they were still great. It was $50. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, fruit is really, really expensive there.
Because a lot of things are imported. I mean, they do grow lots of fruit there. They've got the jackfruit and the durian, the really stinky fruit that, so terrible.
Yeah.
But other things like that, everything is import. So it's very, very expensive. Alcohol is very expensive because it's mostly imported. But you mentioned Cambodia. Of all the countries I visited in Asia, probably the most poor country was Cambodia, but I loved it. The food.
Yeah, I have great experiences from there, from people.
Yeah. So nice. And getting a foot massage or stopping after you've had a long day of sightseeing and you just get a massage. And people are so gracious, or they don't speak any English, and that's okay. We just do a lot of sign language, and it's so much fun.
Where you don't really travel in a guided tour, right? You usually go by yourself.
I can't stand it. It drives me crazy. I went to Italy by myself and I had to take a tour down to Tuscany. And again, when I traveled there, I went to places like Bologna, places people don't really go to. Maud and I went to these kinds of places. I got to play Luciano Pavarotti's piano at his home because there was nobody there. But anyway, I decided to do a tour and go down to some wineries in the Tuscany region. And it was a bus full of people, and I didn't speak to a single one of them because I couldn't stand listening to them.
Exactly. You know, I hate that because I hate that they put
the structure.
And all the schedule. And if you like some place and you would like to stay longer, you cannot, because you just need to follow the tour, and that's something I really hate. I just did that in Thailand, but you know, that was there because nobody speak English, so it was really hard for me to communicate with people, and I didn't went there for several or so many days. I had few days, and I needed to have a better known the most of I could that place in few days. So I decided to get 3 tours, one every single day, but it was a waste of time at the end of the tour that they take you to some shops, and I even asked them to stay in a different place, and I get with them into the shop at the end of the shopping, and I said, no, you need to come with us. It was really
it's not really my
experience.
thing. I shouldn't say I've never done any other tour. Sometimes you have to do a tour, for instance, a catamaran, because I'm not about to take a catamaran out. I have no clue. Exactly. So when I was in Greece, yes, but it was just kind of a big old party boat. It was more fun than anything, but it wasn't so structured. But the one thing about tours, and everybody knows this happens everywhere in the world. You know, the tour guide's getting a kickback from, he'll take you, oh, I've got this great store and you can buy the best trinkets. You know, they're the same trinkets as everybody else, and he's getting a kickback, or it's his uncle's store, or, you know. One of the funniest places that I traveled around by myself was in Bangalore in India. And of course, have no clue.
Mm-hmm.
First place I pretty much landed when I ended up in Southeast Asia, and I'm trying to negotiate with the auto rickshaw, the tuk-tuk drivers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's right when the iPhone, I think it was 4 or 5 came out, and I had this phone, so stupid. I'm sitting there with my phone. All of a sudden, all these heads are poking in to see this iPhone. I'm like trying to very discreetly put it in my bag, and the guy's running out of gas. I have no way to communicate to my partner where I am. It's pitch
Yeah.
dark. He's saying gasoline, gasoline. I'm like, get some gas. Here's some money. Just go. Like,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
oh God, what have I done? But that was fun.
Which would you say that could be the country where you had most difficult talking to people, communicating with people?
Oh, that's a great question, Jose. Hmm. Oh my goodness, that's a very good question. So,
Where you ever felt like, okay, I'm lost in the middle of, I don't know where, and I cannot communicate, and I can ask anyone where to go because nobody understands me.
I was almost going to say Greece because the letters, everything is so different. But the people in Greece would see me with a little compass or my little phone going like this, looking, and they would run over, and they would just point, and and they were wonderful. I got around Greece okay, but I think it would probably be more probably Cambodia, I would say, because they just don't have the means for a lot of education for people. So that probably was the most difficult.
But people was nice though. People was nice.
So nice. You've probably experienced this in Asia when you go. They kept wanting to take my photo. The first time I went to Malaysia, I couldn't quite understand. It was close to Langkawi, I believe, where this enormous bridge, and I was on this enormous suspended bridge, and these young ladies wanted to, they're going photo.
Yes.
I thought they wanted me to take their photo.
No, they wanted a photo with you.
Yes. In photo.
That happened to me also in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur. Some people was walking at the Central Square or something like that, and they were asking me to get a picture with me inside of the picture.
And you almost feel like you're, I'm Madonna now.
Exactly. There's like, okay,
I got that a lot. India, I got that a lot because my hair. People chase me.
Yes, of course.
They touch my hair. I get that all the time. Or people, when they found out Canada, I remember being in Singapore, and this man would not stop asking me where I was from. Where are you from? And I said, I'm from Canada. He starts guessing. He starts yelling out every city he kind of knows. And he yells, Vancouver. He traced me out of the store and yelled Vancouver. I said, close enough. That's good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And where have you ever lived your worst experience traveling?
Sorry, I didn't understand that, Jose.
Where did you experience your worst experience? Where do you have your worst experience traveling?
You're gonna hate this answer. This is a horrible answer, and people are gonna boo me.
No,
I did not have a good experience in Paris.
Okay.
The subways are a little stinky.
Mm-hmm.
The tourists, it was so much. It was nonstop. It was pushing, it was shoving. I found it dangerous, but I was there with my son, and so I think that scared me more so. I was down in Moulin Rouge, and there was a man, I wouldn't call him a gentleman. He was not being very cool, and he was being a little naughty, and I read about this after. That's quite common. You'd always have the guys going, psst, and they'd come and you want the watches.
Yes.
I did not feel safe in Paris at all. I found, again, people are going to kill me, because my son is bilingual. We do speak a different French in Canada. However, it's like saying, okay, we don't speak the same English as someone from Australia, but we may not understand
communicate,
it all. Yeah, so they were quite rude, and my son wasn't very old. He was probably about 13 years old, and he was trying to do all the ordering. Because I wanted him to do that for me. I'm sure I could have got by no problem, but I wanted him to have that experience to learn more French. And the servers were so rude to him. It's like, oh, where do you come from? To my son. I'm like,
oh my God.
Seriously, he's 13 years old. Cut the kid a break. So, and I mean, the Eiffel Tower, of course, you see everything beautiful, but I am not a fan of standing in line.
Some people, I wouldn't say that all of them, but a lot of people, French people, is mean. And probably I understand them. They're all year long. They're full of tourists invading their streets and all their sites. It's like I would be crazy in a city like that, trying to live that real life in that city, because
Yeah.
it's really full of tourists all year
Yeah.
long. So probably that's something that doesn't allow them to be kind. Something talking about kind people, I remember now talking about Asia, something that happens to me in Tokyo.
Mhm.
I was heading, I don't know if you watched that movie called Lost in Tokyo.
I don't know if I've seen that one.
Well, it's an old movie, but it was filmed in a Hilton there in Tokyo. And I
Okay.
was looking at the spot. I remembered I arrived into the closest subway station, but I didn't know where to go to get into the hotel. So I stopped and I asked one Japanese guy, and suddenly I had 5 Japanese guys with their phone trying to help me, but only one just talk a bit of English. So he was the one communicating with me, and the other one were just like trying to get help for me. And then they say at the end of they getting together, they just say that way. And I said, okay, thank you. So I had to walk 3 blocks or something like that, and I went to the hotel. But they were really kind, and they were really nice trying to help me. Even they knew they didn't understand English, right?
Yeah. I honestly, with all the travel I've done, I've rarely had a problem. And for the most part, people are really good, and they want to help you. They can tell you're a tourist, or they can tell you're lost.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been so fortunate that I was talking about in Calgary, there's so many different cultures. It's very diverse here. It didn't used to be, but it's far more now. And I've got friends from many, many places around the world. I have some wonderful Greek friends. They sent me to Greece. Their friends picked me up. They took me around. I went to the next island. Their friends got me. Didn't know any of these people. I ended up partying on the caldera as they shut down in Santorini. It was models and people from all sorts of very high level, because this is a huge party, because I ended up meeting a man who owned all the pharmacies around this region. So he said, "Oh, you ladies need to come and hang out with us," and it was great. So I've been really fortunate to meet great people.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
I
every
should
time,
write that story again. I need to get my travel blog.
yeah, exactly. Don't write a blog, just write a book, a full
Yeah,
book.
I should talk about Italy and Greece and all the
Exactly.
places.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Great experiences to share with people, Lena. Well, I really appreciate your time, Lena. It's really nice chatting with you again. And well, now that we are so far and we cannot get closer to this point with this COVID stuff, so
Yeah.
we will wait for some time, and we may meet each other again, either in Mexico, in Canada, or whatever a plane can take us.
That's right. We'll see you in the mountains, and then I'll come down and go to Puebla or go to, I don't
You,
know,
well,
Guanajuato,
we need
Guadalajara.
to find out which are the 19 states that you're still missing from Mexico to
I know,
visit.
so many great
So
places. I'm going to find out and let you know.
yeah, let me know, and we will create your new schedule for those.
Sounds fantastic. Well, thank you so
Excellent.
much, Jose. I absolutely appreciate it, and it's wonderful to be able to
Well,
share a few stories.
thanks to you, and well, we'll keep in touch. And well, I'll let you know whenever this is done. Do you have any? Well, you don't have your blog. Any other social
Everybody
network
should
that
follow me on
Instagram, right?
my Instagram, because that's kind of my blog now. It's just me doing all sorts of
Okay.
crazy things.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
will share it on the
share that.
video.
That'd be terrific.
I will share it with the people
I
so
would love that.
they can stay in contact with you if they want.
Perfect.
Okay.
I'll get 1 million followers.
Yeah. So can you tell them
It's
something in Spanish and say goodbye to the people?
only if it's something horrible. Okay.
Oh,
I can say hasta luego. See you soon. See you. See is that or
see
hasta
you soon
pronto?
is in English.
Hasta luego.
Hasta luego. And
Hasta pronto.
something else.
Te amo. Besos y abrazos.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, you're still
And
doing
the
it.
rest is bad. I cannot say it on
No,
camera.
I know. Yes,
You know.
we'll forget that part.
Exactamente.
I know what bad teacher you had.
Mhm.
Take care, Lena. It was really
Okay.
nice talking to you, and
Okay. Thank you so much.
see you around.
All right.
Besos.
Besos.
Ciao.
you.